Hi, my name is Annie.
And I'm Kevin.
And we're
Overcommitted.
Overcommitted. Your voice sounds like.
I sound great. I think this is a lovely voice to listen to.
Hope you don't mind, dear listeners.
I'm going through my Natasha, what is it? Leon?
Yes, I've thought
Phase.
of several other Natashas first.
You know what really bothers me?
There you go.
About-
Oh, Marge Simpson.
Homie.
We didn't want to cancel a pod, so we're doing it with Kevin's voice like this and with some tea.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with me. Every time I get a cold, I lose my voice.
And you lost your voice a little extra because you were what?
Cheering on a legend.
Cheering on an absolute legend in a swim competition last weekend.
My daughter had the championships of her swim meet. It was a 2-day event, and if you qualify on day 1, you get to go to day 2.
Yep.
Which we did.
We did. She qualified in 2 events.
Mm-hmm.
She was an alternate in the 3rd event. That was stressful. And then you were just so busy cheering her on.
I knew I had a cold, and I just forget every time because I don't get a cold a lot. I don't get colds often.
You didn't have much of a cold, it didn't seem like. Maybe a little cough, but
Yeah,
maybe you were hiding it from me because you didn't want me to know that you were.
I don't want to hear the man cold talk. I sneeze, and then it's like, man cold. And it's like, all right. Or
That's the voice in your head. I don't do that. Well, it might be the voice in my head. I don't do that out loud.
I think you do, and you don't hear it.
That's possible. A little grumble, maybe.
A mumble grumble. Yeah, no, it wasn't a bad cold. You're
You
right.
just get sick
it was
more
like,
than me. I don't know, I don't get sick a lot.
I don't know. I guess I'm washing my hands too much,
What are you saying about me?
Yeah, but I was cheering her on, and that got me to lose my voice, and it was really bad that night, and then Sunday night, and then Monday I was useless, and of course that's a Scholastic book fair at our school,
Yeah.
so I just didn't really participate.
The funniest thing is that you said that that's how you lost your voice in front of our daughter, cheering on an absolute legend, and then she's had a little cold, so she went to the doctor with you the other day. You took her in, and the doctor asked how you lost your voice, and she said,
Cheering on an absolute legend, which is great.
She's funny.
She's got a good
Timing.
mentality. Well, she's very funny,
Okay.
but
That's not what you're saying. It's not where you're going.
I do think she's funny. I'm always hesitant to tell people funny things about our kids.
Yeah.
That is a very funny thing to say. It's an insane thing to say.
I mean, you said it. She just repeated it, but at the right moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's accidentally funny.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
But in regards to sports, what you were talking about with her being an alternate,
Uh-huh.
I'll just go through this real quick because nobody cares, but just to paint
Set
the
the
picture,
stage.
set the stage.
Yeah.
Top 8 people go into the finals competition, all race at the same time.
Yep.
And then the bottom 2, 9 and 10, are alternates if somebody doesn't show up. And that it means anybody from any team, you get to take their place. So kids just weren't showing up. So we were just like, oh, I guess we're going up until the moment she had to go in the water.
Yeah.
And I was nervous as a parent that or at least I'm this way. It's not even as a parent, just as a person. I know I'm this way. Like if I'm going to do something or have to perform something or whatever.
Want to know you're doing it?
Want to know I'm doing it,
I
but also
know.
if I know I'm doing it,
Yeah.
even if it's something I'm not super prepared for or excited about, I will be looking forward to it.
Right.
So if something happens, going, hey, you know what? Because I've had this happen before in comedy, where for whatever reason might need you to go on to do this, and then you know what? We're good. We actually don't need you. We're fine. And it's
Yeah.
I
didn't want to do it
it's
anyway.
stupid anyway. Stupid thing, and you're a little bit disappointed
Yeah.
though.
I was not expecting them to do it quite the way they did. I assumed we get there and they'd be like, everybody's here, don't worry about it. But instead, they were like, no, she has to stand there until the minute the kids jump in the water
Yeah.
and be ready to jump in if someone doesn't show up in their place. And because I think the competition was going much faster than it has in previous weeks, because there were no heats, kids were really late. So there was there was 4 kids missing 2 minutes before. And then down to when they lined up on the side of the pool, there were still 2 kids missing. So it was yeah, you might have to go.
And then they were at their lanes in their bathing suits.
That's what I mean. Yeah, they were at the pool, standing with their foot at the corner of the pool. And then they told her she didn't have to go. But she was totally fine with it. She was like, I honestly don't really want to do backstroke anyway.
Yeah.
And then her friend was swimming, so I just said we're gonna race down there and support her if you don't get the call.
If you don't get the call.
And she didn't get the call.
She didn't get the call.
But what a wild ride to make a kid go on.
Yeah, exactly. Because going back to what I said, I didn't want her to get excited to be like, you know what, I want to perform in this and place.
Yeah.
Because you would get some kind of whatever, we don't know yet, like a ribbon or a medal, whatever.
Right.
So it's just like, oh, she would get to place again.
Right.
And that'd be exciting for her.
No.
And she's got a very healthy mentality about it where she's just like, oh, God, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great. And it's weird because she's got this back and forth attitude with sports in general. She likes baseball, but also like doesn't care.
Yeah.
Does care. And I'm like, man, how do we maintain this? Because this is a good cruise control we're on with her in sports. Like she's good at swim. She's good at baseball, but like doesn't care. So
I think she's very similar to you and me, and maybe to most people. But you and I both struggle to care as much about something when the stakes aren't high. Would you say? I would say.
Yeah,
I think that's usually kind of a sign of ADD or ADHD. I don't know that I have that, although the internet has tried to diagnose me several times.
The internet tries to give everybody ADD. It's like every elder millennial on TikTok is like, guess what I have? And you're like, okay.
I think I thrive under pressure. When work is busy, I get a lot done.
Yeah.
When I have to self-motivate, it's sometimes harder to do that. I assume that's probably just everybody. I mean, that seems like a very normal characteristic, but she's similar. She likes to perform in swim meets.
Yep.
She likes baseball games. The practice, not so much.
Yeah.
And you can't blame her for that.
No, I don't blame her for that. I'm excited about that. I
wasn't saying you were blaming her.
I see what you're saying.
I was being hypothetical.
Oh.
Or whatever.
To the listener who is questioning themselves.
Just no, you can't blame her.
Don't blame yourself.
Yeah.
Turn left up here. Don't miss your turn.
Don't listen to him in case you need to go right.
Yeah, you might need to go straight.
Try to never go left.
You might have to back up. You passed
Lefts
it.
are hard.
3 rights to go left.
Chiller ride.
It's a chiller ride.
That's how I like to drive.
No, but that's my point. Is like in the championship, she had a cool attitude about it. And it's like, funny, I should just, and I will just let her ride that out. But as a parent, it's tough because it's like, I want you to not care because I want you to just have fun.
Yeah.
But I don't want this not caring to turn into like, I don't want to do this anymore because I don't care.
Sure.
Unless you really don't care. It's a weird thing. I don't know what the right answer is.
I think it was also like we had prepped her to think she was just doing 2 activities. She wasn't really thinking about it until it was like, oh, I guess we do have to go line up. Not to mention she wasn't feeling well. She's had a little cold for a few days.
Right.
You know, we had to check her both mornings. She didn't have fever, so we went, and then at night on Sunday night she popped a fever.
At night, Sunday night, she looked bad, and it's funny because I told other people. I think even my parents had this reaction where they're like, she gave it her all. And you're like, yeah, but I feel terrible.
Yeah, I know. She really wanted to compete, and I felt a little bad. I was like, oh, you were sick.
Yeah.
But, she wasn't showing signs. She had that adrenaline running.
And she really wanted to compete.
And then once she performed, she was like, I'm gassed. This sucks. I'm not feeling well. And then she was out of school for 3 days, which is so fun.
Like, that's an insane thing to say, is that, and then that's a moment you feel like kind of a bad parent, where it's like, yeah, she competed Saturday and Sunday in the swim championships. She'll be out of school the next 3 days because she's destroyed.
And I feel terrible. God, I hate public school. I love our public school. I love our school. I love our school. I hate the public school system of schools getting
here comes
funding.
Voucher program monologue.
God, no. Schools getting funding for attendance because our school is very on top of us for making sure our kids go to school, and I can understand and appreciate that. I want them to get all the funding that they need. But she missed 3 days, and we're missing 2 days at the end of this month for a trip.
Yep.
And 2 days at the end of April for a trip.
Yep.
One is for your cousin's wedding. It can't be missed. He's family, and he's like a brother family, like very close cousin.
Shout out Cousin Dylan.
And the other trip just came up. It's a work trip for you, but it's a fun family trip that we couldn't miss. And now I'm like, oh, she's going to miss at least 7 days in the spring semester. Probably more. I should probably miss them in January, February. I don't remember. And it's like got me feeling guilty and terrible. But at the same time, it's like 3rd grade, man. I'm not going to not go on a fun trip.
Do you want to know something?
And kids are sick every freaking week. What are we supposed to do?
Kids are sick all the time. Although we have the librarian at our school. Yeah. Is pretty strict. She's great. Sure. She's a classic librarian.
I think everybody working in elementary school should be strict. Yeah. How else do you handle?
But fun.
20 children. I can't handle my 2 children.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do it. But she said yesterday, she was like, I was like, man, I feel bad. She's on her 3rd day out. She might be out tomorrow. Yeah. And the librarian was like, who cares about attendance in elementary school? I was like, huh.
Our principal does.
A principal
tell you that right now.
certainly does, yeah.
We're going to get a home visit.
If the principal listens to this podcast, different librarian.
Can you imagine? Anyway, but I have been feeling terrible about her being out of school. But what are you going to do, man? Kids have been sick constantly. I don't know. And she's probably going to get sick again before
100%.
June. So what are we talking about?
She'll get sick again.
Yeah. We're not high attendance this year.
No, but we're doing our best.
We're doing our best. I'm not going to send her to school sick. I'll just send her to swim competition sick.
Yeah, she can. There's enough chemicals in that YMCA water. Nobody's going to catch it.
It was outdoor pool.
Yeah.
I felt really old several times this week. Do you want to hear about them?
Yeah, please.
One you kind of know about. I went to CVS the other day, and I discovered I had not brought my wallet.
Oh, yeah.
I had just, my purse is kind of spilled out all over the kitchen counter before I left, and I thought I sweeped everything back in, but apparently not the wallet. So I got there, and I walked up to the prescription counter, and this kind man said, like, I'll be right with you. This guy was, like, running for CVS Employee of the Year. He was amazing. I was standing there, and I'm looking for my purse, trying to find my ID. Can't find my wallet. Realize I don't have my wallet. Kind of flipping through my purse to figure out if I have any loose credit cards in there, because I'm not a tidy person. So there's every chance I might have a few
or just some coins
cards.
Since we're going old person.
And I start to walk away when I realize I don't have it. And the man's like, ma'am, I can help you now. And I was like, oh, no, it's not that. I just, I don't have my wallet. And he's like, well, let me look up your prescription. Maybe you don't need an ID for it. You know, some prescriptions you don't. And I was like, oh, okay. But I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I guess I could use Apple Pay or something, right? And he's like, yeah. So he looks at my prescription. I don't need my ID for it. It's just for an inhaler, asthmatics, what?
Yep. Puff, pass. You know what I'm saying?
And so I get out my iPhone, and I vaguely know how to use Apple Pay. Mm-hmm. I pull it up, and I just see pictures of credit cards. And I was like, well, that can't be it. And I'm kind of tapping them, hoping that they're going to flip around and show me a card number.
Okay. That's a wild thing to say.
I don't know how it works, Kevin. It doesn't seem like just a card with my name, like, well, that's going to do anything. So the man, like, comes over with my prescription, and I was like, oh, you know what? I must not have it set up. I'm so sorry. I'll come back. And he's like, okay, sure. And then I walk away, and I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. I know I've paid for something with Apple Pay before, so I call you.
Yep.
From the pharmacy. My phone is also about to die.
That would have been...
And that's how I'm paying for it. So, like, this is my biggest fear. Now I'm going to waste battery calling you. I'm going to go back over to him and then be like, well, then I'm going to go back over to him and be like, okay, I figured out how to pay with the Apple Pay, and then my phone's going to die.
That would have been my favorite end of the story ever. I'd be the happiest person in the world.
So you explained to me that, no, that is the card. That is how Apple Pay works. It's just a card.
Just hover the phone over the device.
And so I go back over there, still not sure it's going to work. I feel 87 years old. I don't know. How do I not know how to do this? How do I not understand? So then I walk back over, and I was like, okay, so I do have Apple Pay. I figured it out. I talked to my husband, and the man's like, oh, okay, great. And he's like, I'm sorry. I would have helped you if you had told me you were having trouble figuring it out. And then I said, I'm far too young to be this way. And the man who I had just provided my date of birth to, was silent.
Yeah.
So anyway, it did work. And I still managed to go to Vaughn's after that and also buy something with Apple Pay. And then I felt like a real, like, millennial woman.
And you're like, this is free money.
I don't know how it works. Where does this come from?
That's remarkable that you were having so much trouble with that, because not, 4 days prior, were we explaining to your father, who's 82 and lives with us, how I can direct deposit a check.
Don't think I didn't remind myself of my father. Just like, how do I not understand this technology? I've just never used it, But I know I have used it at some point, and I've already forgotten. Yeah. And then the other night, I went to go get fitted for shoes for the first time.
Like orthopedics?
No. Well, I actually did get some insoles, for being honest. No, for running shoes for my marathon. I'm so far behind in training. I'm so far behind in prep. And I was like, I should get some new sneakers. I've been running in really old shoes. One of them I'm not even sure is considered running shoes. I'm sure it is.
Just one of the shoes? I'm doing great over here.
And I went to the store to get fitted. And once again, I was being helped out by some like teenage cross-country.
He's probably 27.
Kid. He probably was. And it was fine. I just, I like had to get scanned. So I had to walk on this pad back and forth so he could see my feet. And I was trying to make jokes with him. He's like, I just want to see, how big how your arches are. And I was like, they're not really there. And he didn't laugh or even smile.
What if he just thought you were not being yuck? He thought you were just like she was grumpy.
Maybe.
She's gonna see your arch. They're not really there. It was like, okay,
like they're non-existent arches. And then he fitted me. He put my shoes on my feet, which I did not enjoy. It felt very weird.
Cinderella did it.
But then, like, the girl behind me was getting fitted for shoes, and again, she was a teenager. She was there with her mom. Every time she tried on shoes, she ran around the store. So I didn't know if that was what was expected. He just said, try them out, walk back and forth, but I felt like I had to jog around the store. I did it 3 times. 3 times I jogged around a store in front of people.
Did you have to stop for water
or
anything?
She was much faster than me. No.
Did you turn on your Apple Watch to get...
I want to log these steps.
Like, is this technically an indoor run or an outdoor run?
It was fine. I felt fine.
I
bought more stuff so he would like me.
Yeah.
That's what's important.
Does he get commissions?
No idea.
Okay.
But I assume he cares about the well-being of the store.
Sure.
He's probably a company man.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
How have you been this week, you young buck?
I've been doing great. I haven't hit the gym in almost a week now. Maybe it's been a week.
It's been busy with the book fair.
It's been busy with the book fair, and I can't wait for it to be over. But it is really fun.
I'm pretty angry that our school only did one parent day at the book fair.
Yeah.
The rest of it has all been during lunch and during school. And I couldn't go that day because our kid was sick and you were working it. And so I didn't get to go. It's like my favorite thing. I love a book fair.
I was talking about that and I was like, oh, it's so weird that like our book fair is there's no after school opportunities. And the librarian, it was like there were no students. It was in between classes. So it was just like the PTA moms, me and the librarian. And I was just saying that. And the librarian's like, you need to bring this stuff up at the next PTA meeting. I was like, oh no, I'm just talking right now. I'm not gonna do anything about it.
I'm not gonna ask for more work, but I would have liked to go.
I'm definitely at the age where if I don't work out for a while, say a week, it gets to me.
Your body's feeling a little.
Yeah, I think it affects me mentally and physically.
Yeah, I think that it affects me more mentally. I think when I don't work out,
I think more
real
mentally.
Grouchy. Yeah.
You've
been grouchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grouchy. Down in the dumps. It could just be I don't have my voice, and it's like, man, that's like the thing I love to bother people with.
Yeah.
I don't have my.
It's hard. You haven't been able to make content. You haven't been able to talk to people really. You haven't been able to work out.
Yeah. So
you just sit silently and stare at dinner.
Yeah, like
it's
you.
2 of my dads there.
You went to bed. How's work? You went to bed at like right after we put the kids to bed, and it was around like 8:30.
I've done that twice this week. It's been magical.
And I was like, oh, I'll go. Even though I'm not going to talk to anybody. Like if you'd gone to bed, I'd be up watching something by myself. But I was just like, I'm so done with this week.
Yeah.
I'm like ready for it to be over that I was like, I'd rather just go to bed and sleep as much as I can to get through this week.
Yeah.
Or I'd want to have my voice back and be working out again.
It's really holding on too because you lost it Monday. And now it's Thursday, and you still don't have it.
Yeah, Monday was really bad. Monday was like Monday was like kind of like funny if it didn't happen
Monday
to me.
You couldn't speak at all, yeah.
Monday I had to like warm up my voice, so
Yeah.
I would just be like, "It's good to see you." Like I was like, I had to just try to talk until it started working.
Yeah.
It was insane, and if I went like 20 seconds without talking,
Yeah.
it was back to zero again. It was like, oh my God. But yeah, it's gotten progressively better.
I once did a play like that in high school. I did a play and I had laryngitis, but there was no understudies.
Oh.
So I would just walk out on stage and hope for the best.
Really?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
In what did you say, high school or college?
High school.
It's a bummer.
It was scary, but I think I was able to like squeak out enough voice.
Right. Get it out.
Although I think you'd really rip up your cords doing that, but what do I know? I'm not a doctor. Nobody stopped me. They're like, the show must go on. Solstead, get out there.
Say your lines. Run around the stage a couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how my week's been going. I've been having another one of those things where it's like, is this me, or is this just? It's probably just our children. But like our youngest
Yeah.
son has been like, I think he's been dealing with frustration and anger.
Yeah. Do you think he hasn't been working out enough?
I don't think he's been working out
He's
enough.
been missing his gym sessions.
Yeah, too much screen time, man.
Yeah.
Just leg day.
It could be. I do feel bad when one kid is sick and they're on screens all day. Fairly.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do? You know, you can take, we were like, get off screens and draw for some of it, but also she can't do anything else.
Right.
And then the younger kid comes home and there's kind of by default get a little extra time.
Yeah. But I was also conscious of that and being like, get off screens. And luckily he's only in kindergarten, so he wasn't like clever enough. I won't say smart enough. Clever enough to realize like, she's been on screens all day. Yeah. I just got home and we're calling it on screens. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We are.
Because you guys can play together.
And they did, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But he's been dealing with like frustration and anger. And then like, I don't know if it's one of those things where I'm doing that parent thing where I'm like, is this my fault?
Sure.
Does he see me frustrated and angry and this is my fault and this is why he's angry? Or is he just a kid?
I worry about the same thing. I feel like you and I can both have a short fuse with them sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to mimic it, you know? I feel like I'm always good about apologizing after I realize I've had a short fuse.
Sure.
I'm never like a screaming parent for very long, but there are definitely times where I lose it and I'm like, everyone, go clean your room. And then I'm like, that was too much, maybe. We should have
taken it back a little bit.
Yeah, give it a little talk.
But you know what, though? You did something with our daughter this week, and then I did something with our son, and it was the same thing. And it was funny to see us do the same parenting style, whatever. So you weren't around, and our son did something mean. I think he kicked a wall or something, and then he he bit his sister, which is funny.
Not for his sister.
Never his sister, not at the time. But I did the thing where I reprimanded him in the moment of just like with like not yelling, but of a flash of anger, kind of like, did you really do that? Like look him in the eye.
Yeah.
And just break his spirit. And I don't know, I kind of stand by that a little bit.
His spirit. So intense.
I broke his spirit. He felt probably good about himself getting a little chomp in, and then you tell him you made him feel bad. So I like called him out for it.
Yeah.
And he immediately felt bad. And I don't know. I know that like gentle parenting would say don't do that. But also at the same time, like you remember when you felt.
Do what though? What do you mean? You yelled at him? What did you do?
Yeah.
Or did you just like go hard on him? Like, did you really do that?
I went hard on him. I didn't yell at him.
I don't even know that's hard. That's just like, I mean, I don't think gentle parents don't believe in calling people out when they.
No, they definitely do. And
stuff.
That's the misconception with gentle parenting.
Yeah.
But I guess it was just like, I was driving. I didn't have time to deal with this. Looked at him. He was like upset. And I was like, not okay, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he was upset and I didn't console him. And then when we got
you
home,
were driving. Yeah.
Then I pulled him aside, turned on the Full House music, and I, chatted with him.
I would say that's in the line of gentle. I mean, I don't really know. I'm going to say gentle parenting, but
maybe it is. But
when someone bites, you do have to tell them that was bad.
Well, that's what I mean. I do feel like there's the importance of like, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know enough about gentle parenting. I just know that like I feel like that first flash of whether it be like you're angry with them and disappointed them can be, I think, good because that lets them know they did something wrong.
Yeah, it lets them know people are going to react.
Yeah,
at you.
Like, no, I don't like what you did at all.
Yeah.
To the point where I'm like, I don't even recognize you, which is why I said, "Oh, it was great." No, I didn't say it to him. But then later, you sit down and you talk to him, and then talking to him later, then it was like, all right. And then we got through it, and then he opened up. And we talked about feelings and being angry and all that stuff. And then you did the exact same thing, like maybe the same day, like that night, to our daughter.
When she was mean to our son?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember what it was. But it was something like you called her out and then pulled her aside.
They were being mean with their words. Something about the word stupid got used, I think, if that's what you're talking about. And I think I kind of called her out in front of everybody. Well, I'm going to say everybody, but all four of us were in the room.
Yeah.
Typically, I'm big about like pulling a kid aside. Pulling him out of the situation to have a talk with him. But when it's like a moment of like, I want your brother to see I'm standing up for him.
Yeah, I think that's important.
I kind of called her out and then I pulled her aside and had a little talk with her about like, I think they're enjoying rubbing each other, like pushing each other's boundaries a little bit lately, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I think that's a sibling thing. Kids are going to do
100%.
that. And I think that they are both exploring taking it too far with a bite or really unkind words. And, we just got to be there to be like, hey, knock it off.
I like that.
I've been saying knock it off a lot lately. I feel like I'm a sports guy. Knock it off.
Knock it off.
I don't know why that's my new catchphrase.
I think the pulling aside is great. I do, always stand by calling them out in that moment because it's important to nip that in the bud, and then later we can pull aside. Because a lot of times when you set aside, then they'll open up more, talk more about it.
For sure.
But it's funny, I don't mind calling out any of my kids if something happens and everybody's right there, calling it out. I hate it when one of the other one chimes in.
Oh, sure. With the other kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always just knock it off.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
I think you have to pull them aside too, because you got to make sure the story is still the story that you heard. Sometimes I think when you react too fast, you find out
context is missing.
I called him stupid, but he also hurled a bat at me right before it or something. You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, well, now we have a bigger story. It's my mom was big about both my parents. I think it's a lot of the 90s parenting were big about all three of you cut it out. And you'd be like, I am underneath two of my brothers right now who are what do you mean knock it off? We of all three of you. Yeah. I am 7 years younger. So try not to be that person that takes the first story I hear. But in both the situations, I mean, the kids were like, I did that. I sure did.
No. So you can say knock it off, but you just got to be careful of, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
That's what you got to be careful of. Then you're
in
real trouble.
It's a bummer because I feel like they have been on each other's just really enjoying pushing each other's boundaries lately, but they've also been the best buddies lately. So it's I don't know. That's just siblinghood, I think, right?
That's exactly siblinghood. Me and my brother Steve, who lives up the road, we were best of friends, and then when we fought, it was angry.
Yeah.
But then we were best of friends.
I have two older brothers, but they're 6 and 7 years older than me. So sometimes I feel like I don't really have that experience of having a sibling on your level.
Yeah, what's the distance? It's supposed to be there is a distance. I think it might be 5 years of obviously this is not totally true, but if there's a distance in siblings, I don't know if the word
an age difference?
Yeah, age difference in siblings. It resets. So you were the youngest, but you're not really the youngest.
Because there's such a big age
difference. Because there's such a big age difference that it kind of all resets, and then you're kind of the oldest again.
Yeah, well, when you think that at 12, they both moved out, so I was an only child for 6 years.
Exactly. For some formidable years.
Sure, but you have a much closer age difference with your siblings.
Yeah, we're all a year and a half.
And that's why I feel like they're going through a little bit lately. They're very cute together a lot, and then sometimes they're just really, really testing.
It's really funny because you and I, again, this is a perspective you can't have until you're a parent, but when you see them do cute things, it's melt your heart.
Yeah.
Sweetest. I drew him this picture. I drew this for you. Oh my God. I wasn't even around. We didn't even see them. They won't even present it to us.
Right.
I drew this for him.
We discover it without it being presentational.
Oh, I drew this for him. And you're like, oh my God, that's so kind. Heart melted.
Yeah.
And then later, the head of that is ripped off. And she's like, it was pissing me off. And you're like, that's the worst thing you could have done, but it's not. It hurts us more as parents because we're just that was so important to me.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. That's
the thing that scares me the most is when they show that they are trying to do mean comedy, because I hate mean comedy, Mm-hmm. And I feel like they're at the age where they're going to start to explore I don't know, just putting each other down or you smell or you're stupid and I really want them to, I mean, that's not comedy. You're stupid.
Well, roasting comedy is popular and it's funny. We talked about it. I don't know why it got brought up, but we were coming home from the doctors, our daughter and I, and she brought up comedy and she's like, I always like to make fun of myself. I'd be like, that's the fun thing to do. And I was like, it is a fun thing to do. We talked about self-deprecating comedy and it's just it's a victimless type of comedy. You're not going to worry you go too far.
Right.
Unless you do, and then that's just weird.
Yeah, unless you're genuinely being mean to yourself.
Yeah, unless you're going too far where everyone else, if everybody stops laughing, they're worried about you.
No, you're a good person. Stop.
Relax.
Yeah, I don't know.
But kids experiment in mean comedy, and it is.
And I have fallen into it before in my life. And I just, it leaves a yucky feeling in your
I excel at mean comedy, but you should bury it and just don't say it out loud.
Yeah. Whisper it to me.
Okay. All I'm doing is whispering right now.
And then I'll be saying, knock it off. That's too
Knock
far.
it off. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear it.
Should we read her another review?
I think we should read another review. Let's do that. Guys, thanks for the reviews. They're always just so nice.
So nice. You guys are nice.
These are so nice. But please spread
Not
the word
mean
about this
comedy.
podcast. We'd love to grow this podcast. So if the more reviews we get, the better. But also word of mouth is the best we can do.
Yeah, share it with your friends. Share it in your stories. Share it in
Yeah.
your newsletter. Share it in your Christmas letters.
No, let's work
It's
on
February.
newsletters.
Okay,
It's
never
February.
mind. This one's from Gremlins. We are them. Annie and Kevin are funny, honest, and somehow make me feel like I'm doing okay, even when my kids are currently crying because I took down the blanket fort that has been up for 2 weeks. They tackle the real struggles of parenting with humor and heart, making my wife and I laugh. Love, it's a boy. It's a boy.
Okay.
While also giving some reassuring advice, observations. It's like sitting down with your funniest and sometimes sleep-deprived, friends and realizing, oh, good, it's not just me. Highly recommend for anyone who needs a parenting pick-me-up or an excuse to take an extra long shower like my wife does as she listens while blaring it on a speaker in the bathroom. I love that.
Who's the name?
Gremlins.
Gremlins. No real proof it's a boy, but
Oh, right.
you just cut it out.
How? Well, no, I think it's fine to leave it in that sometimes your brain is just
Yeah.
tells the stories of the life you live and you forget that other people.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. Could be a girl, could be a boy, could be non-binary.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go.
Sorry for playing Guess the Gender. I just get excited because I so rarely have male followers, and I do have a few males that I always see their names pop up, and I'm always like, oh, hi, bud.
Well,
But also gender construct, and it doesn't matter.
yeah. I'm impressed hearing that from somebody who doesn't know how to use Apple Pay. I'm really proud of you.
You wouldn't guess it, right? That's so funny that she listens in the shower because I think I've ruined my iPhone from listening to things in the shower because I don't have a speaker. So that's better that they're listening through a speaker.
Yeah.
I should do that.
Yeah. Get a shower speaker.
Yeah, instead of
Get a shower speaker, guys. If you're
propping
going to listen
my
to us in
phone
the
up.
shower, please.
don't prop your phone up on the soap shelf
Don't do that.
and hope that
It won't slip
somehow
off
your
the
camera
soap
isn't
shelf.
filming your naked body and putting you on sites.
Oh, okay.
I saw someone recently say they put a towel over their camera when they go to the bathroom.
Mm,
Like if they leave their camera on the
sure.
to listen to something.
Mm.
They're like, I put my towel over it. And then all the people in the comments were like, me too. I saw that episode of something like Black Mirror or something.
Mm.
And I thought, oh man, I'd stand mine right up there filming all its glory.
All the great angles.
Well,
Amazing.
that's good. We'll see you next week. Hopefully
We'll see
Kevin's
you
voice
next
will be
week.
back.
It'll be better. Or if you like this, it'll be worse.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
kind of rare.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, bye.
All right. Bye.